Hey guys. So the first wave of people who had contact with Thomas Eric Duncan are being taken out of quarantine today because they have not developed Ebola. And it's sort of a miracle, I would say, considering they were in that original apartment with him while he was getting sicker and sicker and developing symptoms like vomiting and diarrhea. But his fiance, his son, and 2 other people are being taken out of quarantine today, and miraculously they did not develop Ebola. However, 70 healthcare workers will still be under watch. People that were either treating him once he was in the hospital, or people who were treating the 2 nurses that were at Texas Presbyterian Hospital who later developed Ebola. The person who was on the cruise ship has been tested, and their test results are negative, so thank God they also did not have it, which means that all the people who were on that cruise ship with that person can breathe a huge sigh of relief. Nigeria and Senegal have announced that they have not developed any new Ebola cases in the last 6 weeks, and that is wonderful news because there was a great concern about Ebola just spreading throughout the continent of Africa. So some of these countries must be doing everything right because they're able to contain it and or prevent the new cases from developing. The CDC is issuing new Ebola protocols for hospitals. From now on, what they would like to do is have people in full suits, covered head to toe, no skin exposed. So they're going to have on a hood and the full suit, booties, gloves, nothing. I think if those nurses that ended up developing it had on the full suit, they probably would not have gotten it in the first place, because you have to have contact with your skin to the bodily fluids in order to catch it. So we're moving in the right direction, folks. You know, a lot of mistakes have been made, but they're learning from their experiences, and we're gonna get better prepared, I hope. And if none of the people who have been exposed up until now develop it, or if we can just contain those people, now that we know what we have to do, I think there is definitely hope that maybe we can stop this thing in its tracks. I hope so. When I said before that I thought this was gonna break out into a pandemic, that's how that's how I felt at the time. And I still feel like there is still that possibility, but if we can learn from our mistakes and issue new protocols and be very careful, then there is some hope that we can turn this thing around. And another thing that they're doing with the new CDC protocols is they want to have some sort of a supervisor in the changing room to supervise when people are removing their equipment, that they're doing it in the right order, in the right fashion, so as not to contaminate themselves while they're doing it, because it's so easy to, you know, slip up and do things not in exactly the right way. So that's a good idea as well. And they're also going to be more diligent about disinfecting their hands, because once they have removed everything, just as a final precaution, do like a really intense hand disinfectant, because they've just finished touching all this stuff. Okay, so since the last video that I made, during that time I had said that the president was contemplating creating a new position called Ebola Czar, which is the phrase that was tossed around. But the actual name of the position is Ebola Response Coordinator, and right after my video went up, someone was appointed. His name is Ron Klain, and he's a lawyer, and he has been Joe Biden's chief of staff. He was also Al Gore's chief of staff, and I think a lot of people are disappointed at who they chose, because it would have been so nice to have someone in that position with some medical credentials, but that isn't what they were looking for. That isn't what they were looking for. I think the rest of us would like to have seen someone appointed in more of an advisory capacity, but that isn't what they did. The White House says that this position that they created was to coordinate all the heads of the different departments with each other, make sure that everybody is on the same page, make sure that any new protocol that has been instituted is being laid out in the way that they want. So it was going to be more of an organizational and communication type position than anything. But I think a lot of us are disappointed and would like to have seen that as more of someone who maybe was an expert in the field that could advise them better than anyone who was previously doing that. I hate to slam anybody in this situation, such as Thomas Friedman, the head of the CDC, because I'm sure he did the best he could under the circumstances, but I feel like, you know, so many mistakes were made that he should have been either replaced or someone else should have been put into a new position, like maybe the U.S. Surgeon General that we don't have. Someone could have been put into a new position in order to advise him and anybody else who was coordinating the efforts to stop this disease in its tracks and not have it spread any worse than it has. A lot of mistakes have been made, but I feel like now we're moving in the right direction, and at least we've gotten a lot of breaks in terms of like the people on the cruise ship or the hospital workers. I haven't heard anything about any new cases, but then again, on the weekend I feel like the news sort of takes a back burner because a lot of people that do these types of news jobs Monday through Friday are not working on the weekend, and it's almost like there really isn't much news on the weekend. So I think that if there are any new developments on the Ebola front, it's going to start appearing sometime today or maybe tomorrow, because there really hasn't been any negative news about any of this. So let's see, I think that is it for today, and if we keep on getting good news with the Ebola situation and nothing new develops, I will be incorporating some other news items into my videos, and we'll talk about some other things besides Ebola. So that would be nice, because I think a lot of us have really had it up to here with this whole Ebola thing, and I am so glad though that things seem to be going well, and hopefully we can continue in that direction. So I'll see you next time, and that was the news for Monday, October 20th, 2014. Bye.